Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Marvel's Agents of S.h.e.i.l.d. Season 5, Episode 9. It is called Best Laid Plans. So full spoilers for the episode as per usual. So we had a really touching episode last time, and this episode kind of followed up a lot of those threads. It kind of, I don't want to say confirmed things, but at the very least the characters are thinking the same way we were.
Yeah, again, not confirmed, but implied that we're along the right lines
Yeah, I
to
mean,
be thinking it at
because
least.
the characters could be swerved as well with us
Yes.
later on. But when Fitz and Simmons find the Gravitonium in the ship, and it's like an advanced version of the ship that Fitz had kind of designed, but it was like, in
Never went
blueprint
anywhere,
stages.
yeah.
He's like, wait a minute, this proves that some of this is accurate. This proves we're in kind of a loop.
Yeah.
But I like the kind of debate here because he's immediately cynical and thinks, oh, we're screwed then, nothing can happen. And Simmons like, hey, this is proof we get back.
Yeah, but like he says, he's convinced it's proof that it's just a loop because they only build this because they know how to build it because they've already seen it.
That is true. That said, I'm pretty not just because I'm being hopeful, but I'm pretty sure because it's a TV show, they're going to break the loop.
Yeah, that's usually how these things go.
Yeah, that's
That said, I still agree with Fitz's logic.
it's fine, but have a bit of faith. You can break loops because I feel like if we're going with one of the ideas from before with Robin, that she has like either memories of previous loops or she sees alternate loops at the same time, and the idea that each time they get a little bit further or they get a bit better, things go a bit better each time, that eventually the loop will be broken.
Yeah, I still don't know if I buy that personally. I feel like all the memories, all the visions that she tells, they're all from one loop. It's just an extended sequence.
It may be, but I don't think you can prove that.
No, I can't. That's
Yeah.
just that's how I felt it was portrayed.
How do you think they're going to break the loop then, if it's the same?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know yet. I'm sure they will because, like you say, it's a TV show, but I don't know how they will.
That's my current theory. Obviously, with more information, I'll maybe change my tune. But based on what we've seen so far, that would be my guess. Is that every time they've looped, things have been different and they've changed a little bit because every time they have a new bit of information, maybe based on the previous loop, like Robin's information
Yeah,
changes
possibly.
based on how the previous loop ended. Like, okay, so that didn't work, so now we have try this. Not that she speaks in simple terms like that; she's very cryptic. But that would be my guess at the moment. But yeah, so Fitz is on the loop train. As is Simmons. Simmons wasn't disagreeing with the loop theory, and obviously the Gravitonium is back in place. And they actually kind of answered one of the questions that I'm sure we brought up earlier on in the season, which is how can a piece of a planet like this still have any kind of gravity or atmosphere?
Gravity, yeah.
But no, I mean they brought Gravitonium up, and
Yep. This silly gunk.
yeah. So I mean, obviously scientifically it's nonsense because it's not a thing that exists, but I'll accept it. You're telling me this can do it. That's fine. You've
Hey,
explained
it
it.
works within their own rules.
They've explained it. I'm happy with that. And then so obviously this episode kind of neatly splits into two, in the sense that you've got the people on the Zephyr, on the planet, which is actually still technically connected to the lighthouse. It's just kind of with part of it seemingly.
Yeah.
Because I got the impression that they theoretically could have just like got to the lighthouse without leaving the atmosphere at the very least. That's what it sounded like. But obviously the plan ultimately becomes, no, the engines can't actually sustain flight in gravity, but if we get outside of the atmosphere, we can still thrust ourselves through space for about 10 minutes.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
That's specifically what they said.
So you're thinking when the Earth shattered,
Yeah.
the lighthouse didn't actually separate. It's just that piece of Earth that was on top of the lighthouse because it was underground.
Yeah.
Kind of became the bottom. Maybe.
Kinda. Or up top. I'm pretty sure they've said up top before.
Um.
That sounds familiar to me.
think.
I suppose it depends which way it's rotating.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's kind of all subjective at that point.
Yeah. So I think it's connected to a piece of Earth. Not all of it, obviously, but one of the pieces.
Yeah. No. Okay. No. There's a logic there.
That's what I'm
And,
thinking.
and you think the Zephyr is on the same piece as the
Just from
lighthouse?
the way they spoke about it, and because they seem to think they could get there without getting into space at one point.
Yeah. I guess they did.
So that'd be why I'd think that. But regardless, the plan ends up being Simmons gets this plan like, hey, we've got Gravitonium and we can have turn the gravity off. If we can just get into space, we can just it's easy to thrust in space because the weight's not a problem. It's just a case of a nice little push. All you need, a little push. So that becomes the plan, and there's a lot of techno hurdles in the episode. And what I mean by that is, it's a lot of things that don't really matter to us as the viewers. It's just the characters keep saying, "Oh, we can't do this for X reason," until they kind of can. So Fitz is, working with cables and shit, and so they're working with various things, try to get power on, try to get various things on. And yeah, so that's kind of what a lot of episode is. And the more interesting stuff, I was a little bit worried with Deke at first, because they were doing the whole thing where Voss was trying to like, you'll do it right, and just give the World Destroyer to Casillas. Like, why not? Like,
yeah, she doesn't go back. He deals with her. Problem solved.
Yeah. And I was kind of worried that we're going to go down this, because there's a couple of times where he sort of gives a sort of glance. You're like, oh, is he going to do the bad thing? And I was like, we've already played this card with him a couple of times now. I don't know if I really want to necessarily go down that route. So I was glad that by the end of the episode, it was very kind of like, no, this is him kind of making his statement. Yeah. No, I'm on good guy team now.
I think I'll be more interested to get to the point where maybe if Skye contemplates not going back, to see if, as a sacrifice.
Well, it's funny you say that, because she actually has another solution in this episode, which is to simply not take out the inhibitor and just leave that in so she can't use her powers. But as people in this episode speculate, Fitzsimmons, hey, maybe it's not Skye that does this. Maybe it's something to do with this Gravitonium, because it seems to be, like, if it's helping the Earth still have an atmosphere and gravity, then clearly it's,
powerful.
It's powerful, and it's not just in a ship. It's, like, all over the place.
Yes, it has to be.
And that's an interesting question. What is interesting, though, Voss at one point says something about, it started with, like, an alien in the sky, or aliens in the sky, and S.h.e.i.l.D. tried to, stop them or beat them, and that's what led to it. And I wonder if that is like a sort of small little connection to Infinity War coming up. Like,
yeah, it could be.
Because it doesn't have to actually play out, because if they go back and then stop whatever they do, it doesn't actually matter that it doesn't happen, if that makes sense.
No, we just have to know that S.h.e.i.l.D. still go and help, which I'm sure they would anyway, because
but
even if we never see it. Yeah,
but originally this is what they did to try and help fight that invasion. Yeah. And then it went obviously wrong. But then they've stopped it. It's kind of a neat way of like kind of making them involved in that without it actually mattering that they're not in the movies, because ultimately they undo everything they did.
Yeah. Screw the movies for not involving them.
Yeah, screw the movies, indeed. That said, the movies might not necessarily wrap up that plot until Avengers 4, so that might kind of put a wrench in that idea. But when he said Alien in the Sky, I'm like, well, we kind of have one of those scheduled.
we do.
In a movie soon, so... you can't help but think about that when he mentions that, but yeah. So no, that was kind of his thing. Fitz is being cynical. May's being all kind of like, I was a mother? What? I just don't see it. And like Coulson's, obviously he's kind of sweet on her. He's like, oh, I can see it. You've got all these qualities. And Skye just from the corner, she's like tinkering with a device, and she's like, yeah, you're kind of the bed at 7:30, no phone, no TV kind of mum. And then May just gives her this dirty look, and she's like, you're kind of proving my point with that look. That's a mum face right there.
It's such a May glare.
Yeah. And then later on she says she's got that mum face again at one point, so there's a good little bits of humour sprinkled throughout. But of course there's gravity storms going on, and they're evacuating some of the I guess red shirts who were already down here to the caves to
because Enoch is convinced, let's go to the caves.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Enoch goes with them. Enoch has a couple of good moments as well, actually, where it's just if I had a stomach, this is where I'd start vomiting. Or
I liked when someone called him a metal man.
It was me.
And he's like, and he's like, no, I'm mostly made of plastic, and we don't really have genders.
Yeah, and she's like, he's like, plastic's quite useful, if not often appreciated. Oh, dear. Yeah. It feels weird calling him Plastic Man though, because.
But Metal Men's also a thing.
Well, Metal Men is Metal Man.
Yes, no, I said men then.
You did, but May didn't call him that. She just called him Plastic the next time. I wonder if that was intentional, like, Plastic Man's actually a thing, so we'll just call him Plastic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it would matter if she did. It's kind of obvious why she's saying that in the context, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a choice they made. But yeah, but we know that Sonara's on the Prill. She actually shows up on the ship as they're trying to take off. So there's a lot of fun stuff as the ship's trying to like rise up, and it's not quite out of the atmosphere, and the gravity's off, the gravity's on, the gravity's off, the gravity's on. There was a lot of that. So we actually have a fight between Skye, who's getting up to fix one of the things. I can't even remember what she said.
Remove the anchors.
Yeah, that's what it was. She's going to remove the anchors, and Sonara's in the cargo waiting for her, and they have a fight, which starts in 0G. It's
pretty cool.
Which is pretty damn cool. And then the gravity comes back on, and then it just turns into all out fisticuffs fight because she has no powers right now. Sonara's been shown to be quite a proper fighter.
Yeah.
So this fight is actually really good, and what I liked about it is that Sky really puts up a fight, and it feels like like she can really take care of herself, but at the same time it feels inevitable that she's going to lose. Does that make sense?
She's still human at the end of the day. She's outmatched.
Yeah. It feels like she's doing the best she can. She's holding her own, but it's more like she's just delaying the victory.
Yeah.
Until of course Deke ends up helping out with his big claw.
Absolutely.
Big claw. So, and then she eventually she makes the mistake of jumping at her when the gravity's coming back on, and Sky bends the pole to impale her,
as one does,
and that's how Sonara meets her end. Which
disappointing.
It's disappointing in the sense that I'm not going to hear that theme again because I've been enjoying every time that's come in.
Yeah, just disappointing because she was a good presence.
She was a good presence. I actually kind of like her death though overall, and what it means.
I do as well, and this means that she'll never lose that effect. They can't overdo it, so we don't feel like, okay, presence is underwhelming now.
But the reason why I kind of like it is mainly because of the other plot that's going on. But this all kind of happens at the exact same time where Casillas loses everything else in his life. We'll get to that in a bit. But I like it in that sense where it really feels like... No, the fight was good. It felt like really like a hard-earned victory. And I liked all the jokes about how, Coulson gets hit in the head at one point. He thinks that the Zephyr can't do it. This is a bad plan. Even Simmons at one point, it was her plan. She's like, this was a stupid idea. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
And then it worked, and it was just good fun in that sense. So I liked all their stuff. That was most of the team interacting. Then the other plot, of course, was Mac and Yo-Yo kind of starting a revolution on the lighthouse. And Flint's really wanting to get involved, and Mac has to keep talking out a Yo-Yo to hey, don't just go in and try and kill Casillas, because we don't know what he's got planned. And he was quite right to do so, because it turns out that he's got explosives on every floor, and he's threatening to just annihilate everyone if he doesn't get his way.
Hey, you do what you gotta do.
And he's wanting Flint back, and then when he drops the bomb, Tess shows back up because at the start of the episode he's like, "Oh, bring out our other recent thing we've developed, and let's remind them that I'm God and not just their boss or whatever. I'm not evil. I'm their God." And Tess shows up looking not particularly great. She's looking a bit sickly, but. Basically they have, and this is going back to season 1. We established this a long time ago actually. So between the Gravitonium and this Kree blood helping someone come back, we're really digging deep into some S.h.e.i.l.D. mythology here from stuff that we've not talked about in a long time.
And interesting, we haven't really spoken about the Kree blood in so long, but that was such a big part of Sky and Coulson's journey. Yeah,
back in season 1, discovering that she was maybe not quite human, that there's more to her, all that stuff. Yeah, all came from talking about Kree blood. So. No, it feels very, and I think it's very intentional because we're getting close to episode 100, and I think the one thing that an episode 100 often likes to do is to harken back to sort of the early days of the show. So it's good stuff, and so they're planning the whole thing. There's a lot of rallying the troops, and it feels kind of hopeless when they keep discovering all these bombs are here. And they eventually, Yo-Yo and Mac, steal all the supplies to make more Inhumans, everything they've got in the lab, and they call out Casillas, and they make Tess go and deliver this message. And honestly, when Casillas, throws a fit and, grabs her by the neck, he's got presence. I feel like he's had presence on and off, depending on what the plot's been.
He's so much more interesting when he's unhinged, though.
He is. Because he's so sure of himself all the time that it's really fascinating and satisfying seeing him show the cracks, he's not as confident anymore. Because he's standing in this hallway with Yo-Yo and Mac. Tess is behind him. They've got Tess. The Krees have got Tess. And he's like, and he recognises Yo-Yo. He clearly recognises her from earlier in the timeline.
Yes, absolutely, undoubtedly.
Which is fascinating. And he's like, oh, this is ironic, and he's going on. And basically, he's like, hey, this is the trigger for the bombs. I'm going to kill them all. Turn yourselves in. This is a pointless display. And he's so sure of himself. And see, when he pulled out the little trigger, I really wanted the Yo-Yo thing to work. Because not when she actually did a little run-up. I thought, as soon as he pulled it out and he started talking, I was expecting it just to vanish out of his hands. Because I thought that'd be really funny. And it didn't happen. And obviously, when they actually did the build-up, I'm like, okay, it's, they've prepared for, the wall gravity.
Yeah,
gravity.
Obviously,
S.h.i.e.L.D.
we know from this Casillas and Yo-Yo have a history, just from the way he speaks. he mentions, oh no, we kind of made a deal before, almost like, like she was like, all right, fine, you can have the humans, but Inhumans keep coming. It was like species safety almost.
Yeah, and I have to wonder. I'm so sure that he went back in whatever deal he made, but it is fascinating because given what we saw Yo-Yo in the flashback, it's fascinating to see. Okay, what did she make a deal? What was the deal? Because I think you can try and guess at some things, but I feel like you can't really nail it because. And at least if it was like a good deal, then he's clearly went back in that word on like everything.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna come back to this when we get to the ending.
Okay.
I think that'll tie into one of my theories.
All right. Okay. That said, though, it's really satisfying because Flint shows up and you think he's just been a little rebel and he's going against Mac's word because Mac keeps trying to like not have him fight. He's like, no, he's still a kid. Like Yo-Yo's training him with a gun at one point, and he's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? He's a teenager. Give him the gun. And even on top of that, she I think at one point she says something that even concerned me, where she's like, killing's okay as long as it's the bad guys, and I'm like, calm down, Yo-Yo, right? Calm down.
She's very flippant with this, isn't she?
Yeah, she's very gun-ho, but Flint shows up and he's like, okay, is it done? And I'm like, okay, they've been smart about this, because earlier on they kind of trick us into thinking they can't just move all the bombs.
Yeah.
Because they say, it took Mac a long time. I'm going to assume that Flint using his powers maybe helped speed it up a little bit, given they're behind concrete.
And maybe just a group effort.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, that's the whole big thing is they say all the floors came together because Casillas is very like, humans always betray each other, they always turn on each other, and he's like, no, we united everyone, they came together, and so he presses his button and the bombs go off, but they're all in just one section and everyone else has been moved and everyone's fine.
Everyone's cool. It's like, all right, that was a loud noise.
We actually end the episode before the post-credit scene. Of course, we end on the just a shot of Casillas screaming, like he just loses his shit.
The camera work is demented. It's the only word I have for that shot.
No, it's great. You really feel, and this is why I was saying I liked s.h.i.l.d's death, because he's lost because Mac and Yo-Yo blow up his lab stuff, like all his Inhuman like testing, chems and whatnot, and like he loses that. He loses control of the humans. He loses the ability to kill all the humans, so he's no longer in power, really. I mean, he's got a few guards to help like fight people who come at him, sure, but he doesn't really have any way of enforcing anything. And then on top of that, he's lost his bestie.
Yeah, this is the thing with the slave power structures here, that they're ruled just through fear, because clearly they outnumber the powerful by many amounts. But so that you have to keep them in line a different way, and once that illusion is shattered, you're kind of in trouble.
Yeah, and obviously Casillas got worried immediately as soon as he found out they had weapons. He's like, wait, how did the humans get weapons? Like that's ridiculous. Yeah. That's Fitz forward planning coming into play yet again. But no, like him losing everything, like obviously we're going into the 10th episode, and this is meant to be the finale of this arc next week.
Yes.
So I'm actually really excited to see him fully unhinged. Like, does he know Sonara's dead? Because that's the other thing. He's in that hallway while the fight's going on. It's intercutting, and he's like, "Oh, Sonara will have the destroyer of worlds. She'll have her any minute now." And I'm like, "Yeah, she's going to be dead." In this other scene, and it all kind of comes together, and it all kind of paints him and builds him up to a point where he is going to be so unhinged that he doesn't. I mean, I think he's going to be at a point almost where he doesn't care about his goals anymore, where he's just going to want the vengeance.
Yeah.
So we see in the post stuff that he's got his own seer. We don't see who it is. They're behind the door. I thought they were going to go in the door for us, but no, they shut the door in our face in the camera, and that's how we end it. But he's like, they're coming in an old S.h.i.e.L.D. ship. They're going to be docking in any minute now. Get a team together. We're going to ambush them. And that's kind of how we end. He's like, I've got a seer as well. So, what's your theory then? Hit me.
I think the seer is Coulson, because we didn't see Coulson at all in the flashbacks. Are we calling them visions? The loop timeline. Yeah, we mentioned there was a notable lack of Coulson in any way, and I'm wondering if this was maybe the deal Yo-Yo made. It was all right. You can have Coulson, and that will give you the knowledge that you need. but you have to, keep the humanity and humans around, and Inhumans specifically alive.
So when we say seer, it's not seer. It's just Coulson telling him about his past.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and to counteract, oh yeah, he'd be really old, and well, I mean, they just reminded us this episode about the Kree blood and using it to bring people back to life.
Because at one point he threatens them with killing them and bringing them back over and over again.
Exactly. So they kind of reminded us of that now that that's a possibility. So that's why I'm leaning towards that at the moment. I think it'd be interesting to see how he makes Coulson crack, admittedly.
But
it's got a long time to do it.
Yeah, 70 years of torture might do it, even for Coulson.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't necessarily completely rule that out.
It's my best theory, anyway.
Yeah, if it even is a willing thing, like it might not be. Like I could see, I could see him being hooked up to machines, and they're just like tricking him in his head to like make him speak or something.
Yeah, obviously we know he had the one mind reader, so who's to say he doesn't have another hidden away?
That's true. Yeah, the mind reader, so that could easily be another option. So yeah, it's interesting. The fact that he didn't show us who it was, though, it does indicate that it'll be someone we recognise. If it's not Coulson, it's going to be someone we know.
It has to be someone, otherwise, it's not really a reveal. There's no point in hiding it.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of anyone else we don't see, it's possible it's Mac.
It is, but she implies Mac's dead, which is why in the flashbacks Yo-Yo did, which is why I was actually really worried about Mac in this episode when they were going off of the bombs and he was like, no, someone's got to stay behind and do it.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that though is because you're making the assumption that who the seer is based on the deal. I'm saying there's a possibility that that's got nothing to do with the deal.
Oh, and they just think that Mac's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, okay, I'm with you.
Because I think, the deal could be like to get this whoever the seer is, like giving them up. But I feel like at least the deal I think is more for the people than it is. She might sacrifice someone for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she wouldn't. But...
Even aside from that, I was just going on this something that she told us that Mac was dead. I assumed that she'd seen a body and knew that, rather than was just assuming. But if she's just assuming he's dead, then it could be him. That's fair.
Yeah. Well, I have to feel like a lot of people died on Earth when it split apart. So. It could be a simple thing of just thinking he was on Earth when...
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would do the trick.
When things went broke. Because it's not like everyone's going to look for bodies of all their loved ones when...
No, that would be a pretty good reason.
When you're floating through space and whatnot. So, no. So Mac's a possibility. Admittedly, Coulson makes a little bit more sense because he'd have maybe more details about the actual craft coming to the place because he's on it.
Yeah. But again, this is something that when they go back in time... someone can just fill Mac in.
That's true.
That's not unfeasible.
Yeah. But no, it's interesting stuff. This episode didn't have the touching kind of heart that the last episode did, but it was still very strong. I thought the action was very good. I think Casillas has only gotten more interesting as a villain, because I feel like when it started, he was creepy enough, and I liked how he kind of interacted with people, but he was also still kind of two-dimensional, I suppose, in a way. But I think over the season, in this episode especially, as we see why he is the way he is and what he actually wants, and we see it slowly be taken away from him, it's making him much more interesting. I
think it's rare you see villains lose things in this way, because usually your villain is just a villain. They're there to oppose your heroes. Of course, that you give them character motivations, and of course, well, if you've got a good villain, anyway.
Yeah.
But it's rare that you see them kind of go through a similar arc to what is typically a hero's arc. Okay, you take everything away from them to build them back up, and to break them first.
It's actually really smart writing, I think.
It is. I agree.
Because it's made him more interesting as times went on. He's felt developed, but it also feels like just as our heroes are getting to their point where they are like at their worst and they want to fight back, it's actually really scary to think the villain's at that point too. He's got nothing left to lose. Yeah,
his desperation is matching theirs, because he's desperate just to keep control, prove himself to his family.
Yeah, it's mighty interesting. It's different.
It is. It's working for him.
I still don't think I'm going to rate him over Ada, but I think he's getting up there to be number 2.
That's fair. And again, better than most, if not all, of the movie villains at this point already.
Oh, most for sure.
Most is definitely. As I said, if not all. I'm contemplating that.
I mean, who are you putting above him? Loki's the main one that most people say.
Yeah, pretty much Loki. Which there's an argument either way, I think, at this point.
What have we got? Iron Man. You got Warmonger, Whiplash, Mandarin, and Killian or Gillian, whatever his name was. I can't remember. I like Iron 3 the most out of the Iron Man movies, but like the villains are not the memorable part.
No.
So none of them, certainly. Thor, you've got, well, I guess Loki's the first one.
Loki, then
Malekith,
and Hela.
and then Hela. So maybe Loki, not the other two. Definitely not the other two. Cap, you get Red Skull. And he was really bad in that movie. I'm sorry, guys, but
Yeah,
I know people like that first movie. I do not, and I don't think Red Skull is really good in it at all. If you're
Also, Hugo Weaving really didn't want to be there, did he?
It didn't feel like it. Now, when it comes to Winter Soldier, if you're including Winter Soldier himself as the villain, which is debatable, you have an argument. You have an argument for him.
I think you could count him as the villain if you wanted to.
Because I'm going to be honest, if you're counting him as a villain, I'm putting him above Loki. I'm thinking of his entrance. It feels like a Terminator.
No, okay, that's fair.
He has presence.
I think I prefer Loki as a character, but Winter Soldier as a villain.
Yeah. But yeah, it's debatable if you count, because obviously, ultimately, he's going to be good again eventually.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Cap 3, Zemo? Baron Zemo, is that his name?
That's the one.
I need to watch that movie again. I wouldn't put him above Casillas, but like I'll give them this. He was more interested in most Marvel villains.
He was more interesting, but his plan was so convoluted.
His plan was convoluted, but his motivation was at least a bit more layered than, I'm going to kill the good guys, or I'm going to take over the world.
No, definitely.
So I'll give them that much, even if the execution was a little bit all over the place. Who've left? Hulk had Abomination. Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then,
I mean, Tim Roth's cool, but
yeah, but it's not really him once he becomes Abomination.
No. I'm just thinking, at least he had a personality before that, sort of.
I think I only like him though because he's Tim Roth, not because.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. That's what I said. Sort of. It's like it's because it's Tim Roth kind of acting the shit out of it and having fun.
And then you got Ant-Man. Yellow Jacket was awful. He was like the most bland.
That's one of the worst.
Thing.
Yeah.
Who's the villain in Doctor Strange?
It was the.
Was it just Dormammu?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Clearly not him, because I can barely remember him. So yeah, he's not going above Casillas. It's Avengers, I suppose. You got Loki again in the first one. You got Ultron. Ultron wouldn't go above. He was disappointed. I had hopes for Ultron. I thought Ultron could have been good.
Ultron was underwhelming.
And then you've got Ronan for the first Guardians.
He's more interesting than some of the other ones that we've said, but less, especially as a Kree, absolutely less interesting than Casillas.
Oh shit, yeah. And then the second one, of course. Well, I suppose it's still relatively new. I don't know. It's a bit of a spoiler to say who the villain is in the second Guardians movie if you've not seen it.
It's true. That said, people who are watching S.h.e.i.l.D. probably watch those movies.
Admittedly. And as much as I like the actor, I was underwhelmed with the villain.
No, that's fair. So we come down to Loki and Winter Soldier are the only ones that can really stand up with Ada and Casillas in any reasonable conversation.
And I'd definitely put Ada over both of them.
I would as well.
Casillas, probably.
Yeah.
I'll see how he ends. I'll see how it ends before I make that call.
Yeah. One day we're going to have to rank all the villains. We're going to have to get in the Netflix shows, we'll get into Fisk and Purple Man, that'll be more interesting.
Yeah. Kingpin and Purple Man, and yeah, but what about Madame Gao in the hand? And Bakuto.
I think you might have actually got that right.
That stupid show, I hate it so much.
The thing is, objectively, still better than some of the movie ones. Like, better than Malekith.
No. I'll tell you why. Bakuto is not better than Malekith because he has more screen time, and therefore he upset me more often for longer.
Bakuto fine, but Gao.
I guess. I mean,
Gao had at least like 2 or 3 moments over the 3 or 4 seasons she's been in that were pretty good.
But by the time we got to her in Defenders, which was, after seeing her in Iron Fist, after seeing her in Daredevil, I was kind of sick of the whole thing.
That's fair.
Malekith was not good. He was terrible. But at least it's over in 2 hours or so, and I don't have to think of it ever again.
That's fair. And honestly, the Marvel movies have never wasted an actor as much as they did Eccleston. And I know there's no argument to be made for Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, there absolutely is. Yeah.
But I think Eccleston is a much bigger offense, given that he's supposed to be the title villain. And you can barely tell it's him. He has like 4 lines.
Well,
almost.
Okay, so
I guess that was S.h.e.i.l.D.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes was okay. Here's why the villains in S.h.i.e.L.D. are much better than most of, and even some of the other villains. Like Hive was not as standout as like these past 2 villains, but he was still better than most of the Marvel villains. Because
yeah,
I liked his introduction, like that first episode on the planet where they built up the mystery of him. I really liked like at that point. So.
And they had the playing with the ward idea.
Yeah. So
that added something to it.
That was fun stuff, and yeah. So
honestly, Ward is probably better than like at least half of the movie ones.
I'd say more than that.
Yeah, I'm just going. I'm playing it safe.
Once we got to Ward in like season 2 and 3, I think he was better than because it meant more because he turned on them. He was he was a bad guy the whole time. That was actually far more interesting than a lot of the movie villains. But regardless, I know people are going to give a shit in the comments. They're going to be like, Red Skull was good, or like I said that again, Red Skull. Why can't I say it?
It's not even a hard word to say.
I know.
You can say this.
Red Skull. I've said it multiple times, but for some reason, when I try and throw it in a sentence without thinking about it, I just come out saying Red Skull. I don't know why. Red Skull. Yeah, he was chewing the scenery. And while sometimes Hugo Weaving chewing the scenery can be fine, I did not enjoy it in that movie.
No, me either. Because he didn't care that he was chewing it.
Yeah, but he's going all Mr. Anderson when he's doing all that in the Matrix. Yeah, he's gold. He's gold. But Red Skull, Anyway, Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. But it was a good episode. As much as we tangent for the last 5 minutes, that was a really good episode. So I'm looking forward to the arc finale next week. Before we have a month off, so hopefully it'll be a nice big explosive conclusion. Not too explosive, because I don't want the Earth exploding, but
yeah, but maybe some of the lighthouse.
Yeah, maybe they come back to the past and blow it up behind them, because if they're going to change the past, it doesn't matter if everyone on it dies.
Might as well go for it.
Yeah, that's my logic. I'm kind of joking there, guys, right? Anyway, so that's Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. There'll be a link to that in the description if you want to go over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?